Many people complain, saying, why only bad things happen to me? Why? Why it seems that in my life, things never go my way? What I plan does not happen, and time to time, I'm always in trouble, always finding myself in the midst of the problem, having to ask for help to somebody. Please help me, take me out of this. Why does this happen to me? Well, the answer can be very simple. Very simple. It's just that most of times, all that happens to you is merely the consequence on your choices, a consequence of what you chose to do, what you chose to follow. And this seems to be worse with those who are reactive. You know those people who react without thinking, who react by doing things now without thinking of the future, without thinking of the consequences on what is going to happen to them in the future. If I do this today, what is going to happen? What can happen to me there in the future? People who tend to think on trying to solve only the here and now usually are those who find themselves in trouble. And after they complain, why always going wrong for me? They react upon what they feel. They react to their feelings, feeling of anger, sadness, anxiety. They react upon the feelings, and they forget that emotions, they pass, but the consequences on what we do can be forever, lasting way longer than what we feel. There are many people in prison today because of a feeling of anger, because they acted upon anger there in the moment, they did a silly mistake, and they are paying with years in prison because they reacted upon a feeling. So the feeling passed, but the consequences of what we do can be forever. So many people, for instance, this happens in every aspect of life. Let's talk about marriage. My marriage is over. My first, second, third marriage that I dreamed about, that I didn't think on separating, is over. Well, what did you expect? You betrayed, you cursed, you lied, you mistreated, you placed friends, relatives, work, you placed your own objectives, your career over your partner. What did you expect that would happen? Do you need a crystal ball? Do you need a crystal ball to guess what will happen to a marriage like this? When the person despises, leaves on the side, focus on something else, prioritize something else, of course, there comes a time that the partner will not take it anymore. It's that old saying, the person is not meek and mild. And the other keeps on treating the person as if they can take it everything. It's not gonna work. The person say, I'm not lucky in my love life. But you choose. Sometimes the person says that they have a bad taste. It's not that they have a bad taste, but sometimes it's that you have a problem on being rational, on always reacting and acting upon feelings and not reasoning. You go and you choose the wrong person, a bad person. And what do you want for your love life? If you were the one who chose the bad person, the wrong person, what do you expect for your relationship, for your love life? You surrendered yourself to the person without any commitment. What were you expecting? Oh, I suffer in the marriage. Or I'm filled with debt. I got a debt, I have to solve it, I'm trying to earn some money to pay and clear my debt. Why am I always in debt? Why I never have anything? Always I have to call my parents or to call someone to ask for help. I'm always having to borrow from one to pay someone else. Why? Well, you spend the money, you don't have it. You want to show that you can. You want to show off a life, a standard of life that you cannot have it. You lend money to someone that you shouldn't because of feelings. You felt pity on the person. Poor him, poor her. I'm gonna help them. You wanted to be the good Samaritan without being able to help yourself. You use the credit card with high interests. You complicated yourself financially. You went over your budget. You didn't calculate the costs. And then you ask yourself, why am I in debt? Why is that? Why is that you are in debt? Then let's look at your health. Maybe you're filled with pains. You are there taking medication for this and that. You start with one pill that is prescribed by the doctor. That problem is not solved by the medication. It affects the liver and then the stomach, and then you are prescribed by the doctor another medication to solve the side effect of the first. You are there all broken, hurt, and you ask yourself, why? My blood, my cholesterol, diabetes, the sugar levels in my blood, why am I feeling pain here and there? Well, in your youth years, you place everything that was not healthy inside of you. Cigarette, you bring in. Was cocaine or the drugs, you bring it in. You were doing everything, prostituting yourself. You ate what you should not have eaten. You ate what you shouldn't and in the quantity that you shouldn't as well. You didn't take care of your health. What were you expecting? That you were a superhero? Are you understanding what I'm trying to say here? In other words, there is something called consequence. Consequence. All of us are subject to the law of consequences in life. God gave the human being something called logic. Do you know what is logic? It is that type of thought. If it is, it is. I know that if I'm doing something right, then you will follow something else that is also right, following the first. I know that. I know, for example, that if I jump off a building, the chance of me dying is 100%. That's logical. I know what will happen if I do something. So there are logics that if we don't understand it, if we don't put into practice, then we will suffer the consequences of our actions, and God has nothing to do with that. Nobody has anything to do with that. Stop on blaming God, life, because the only one to be blamed, it's you. So what do I have to do with this information? May ask yourself. What can I do to change that? Well, 3 things. First, stop being so impulsive. Stop on reacting on the impulsive mode to solve the here and now. Think more. Think on long-term things. If I do this, what will happen to me tomorrow? Which means, number 3, use logic. If you use logic, you will think more on the long term and you will be less reactive. These 3 things will help you to not suffer the consequences of the law of consequence, which nobody can run away from it. Whether you believe in God or not, nobody will escape from the law of consequence. Do not forget this.
Did you like this? Would you like to hear it again? Listen to it as many times as you need until this content becomes part of you. Don't forget to leave your like, comment, and share. See you next time.